They say a picture's worth 1,000 words, but the struggle that goes on behind the scenes to get that photo, well, that's priceless. One of my very first videos on this channel was exposing the backstory and struggles of some of my Instagram photos, and that was fun, so we're gonna do it again. And picked out another handful of photos that we're gonna talk about today. They're in no particular order, so let's get into it. Okay, this first photo is actually the first Instagram photo I ever took for myself using a tripod. It was maybe 2 weeks into like the quarantine lockdown. I was bored at home, like out of my mind bored. I ordered a tripod on Amazon, had it delivered, because I had seen other girls on TikTok and Instagram saying that they were making their own content. Thought, wow, for the first time in my adult life, I have literally forced free time. Like, I cannot go to work. I'm not going out shopping. I'm not doing all of these things I would normally do. I have all this time on my hands. Let's make some content. I've always kind of liked being in front of the camera, except for a couple awkward middle school years, but who can blame me on that one? I just love the idea that I didn't need to ask someone to take a photo for me. Because I will preface kind of this whole video with a statement that you need to know about me. I am so particular about photos of me. Like, I will nitpick them to death. I will take 400 photos and like maybe 3 of them if I'm lucky. So to ask someone to take a photo for me is always a disappointment because I never want to make them stand there and take 400 photos for me. And I'm guaranteed to hate all of the 3 they end up taking. So I love the idea that I could take my own photos, take as much time as I wanted, take as many photos as I wanted without annoying anybody. So this seemed like the perfect solution to that. Now I will tell you, this was before I had the Lens Buddy app. So I was using an actual Bluetooth remote that you had to click to take a photo. You'll see I'm hiding my arm in this photo. One of my arms is behind my back, and it's because there's a remote in it. So I always had to come up with some creative way to hide the remote, whether it be hand in pocket, hand in hair. One time I actually physically put it on the ground and was stepping on it to take photos, but you had to find a strategic way to hide the remote. So that presented some struggles. So a lot of the photos in this first set, I wasn't quite used to that yet because I had never done this before. So there's a lot of shots from this little set that got deleted because you could see the remote or you could see the reflection of the light because a light goes off when it's taking a photo. This day, I was just desperate to get out of my house. My tripod had arrived and I was like, okay, get dressed, put on some makeup, put on a cute outfit, get out of the house, go take some photos. This photo is actually taken at a community college in the next county over. I was driving around looking for a spot I thought would be secluded enough so people weren't watching me. So parks were out at that time because all that we were allowed to do during that time was take long walks outside. So no parks. But you know what didn't have people in it? Schools. So while I was driving around on back roads and happened across a community college. So I drove around the back of the school, found this wall, parked my car, and even though there was no other cars in the parking lot, it took me a good 10 minutes to get out of my car. I would like get the tripod and then I'd be like, no. And I'd get the tripod and I'd be like, oh gosh, someone's gonna see me. Someone's gonna witness this. And this is the first time I had ever done this. So I thought it was going to be the most mortifying thing in the world if someone like caught me doing this. Even though I was doing nothing wrong. I finally become brave enough to get out of my car, start posing against the wall. I'm like taking photos, I'm trying, and I hear a lawnmower. If you watched the first video, you know there is a recurring theme when I try to take Instagram photos that either maintenance workers or like groundskeepers always catch me. It's happened multiple times at parks. It's happened on vacation with a pool cleaner the one time. It's just a reoccurring theme in my life. And this was the start of that. This was the first time it had ever happened. And he was on one of the drivable mowers and he came around the corner and I was just standing there, like phone on tripod, like, hi. I was so embarrassed that I just picked the tripod up, phone still on it, and just like marched back to my car, got in the car and drove away. Luckily I had some good usable photos from this. But I like drove home, probably red in the face the whole time because I was so embarrassed. But I got the shot and that's all that matters. Another reoccurring theme you'll notice if you watch the first video is me sneakily taking pictures of myself on vacation without my family hopefully noticing. And this is another one of those shots. This is probably the quickest I have ever taken an Instagram photo. Because I was under pressure. There was a time crunch. This was taken in the backyard of the vacation house we were staying at this year. This picture has the perfect backdrop. I mean, the canal, the dock, it's right in that time between sunset and dusk, so the lighting's really pretty. But this photo was a pain in my butt to take. No, very literally a pain in my butt. This dock was kind of old, the wood was very sharp, and there I am sitting on it. The background behind this photo is the whole group of us came off the beach around sunset, and the rest of the group I was staying with was going to pick up pizza that we had ordered. I knew I had max like 10 minutes of a head start on them before they would be home because we had ordered in advance. We knew the pizzas were ready. They were just going to literally pay and pick them up. Start the time crunch. I raced back to this house. I came off the beach. I obviously had no makeup on. My hair's a mess. Throw on the hat, okay? That solves some of the problems. I run, grab my tripod, still in the Bluetooth remote days, grab the Bluetooth remote, set it up as quickly as I can. It's like dusk though. And another thing you should know about me is that I am allergic to mosquitoes. I don't have time right now to be looking through all the bags to find the bug spray. I'm just gonna have to suffer through it. So I am outside, sitting on this dock. I can hear the mosquitoes buzzing around my ears. I know they're coming to chomp on me. I'm like, you gotta do this and you gotta do it quick. So I just looked off in the direction of the light. I have the Bluetooth remote, if you look at this picture, in the hand furthest away from the camera so that I could just like gently squeeze it. And I took probably 300 photos in the span of 2 minutes. I was just constantly clicking away, trying to make little micro changes to like head, leg placement, arm placement. And the second I saw headlights coming up the road, whether it was them or not, I had to get out of there. I was not about to be mortified in front of my family. So I grabbed that tripod, I ran up the 2 flights of steps into the house, threw the tripod in my room, and then was just casually seated at the dining room table when they arrived. Like, oh, thank you guys so much for picking up that pizza. Hope the line wasn't too long. And they were like, oh, no, it's fine. They were none the wiser. I got to eat pizza. I got the shot, and a ton of mosquito bites if I recall. This photo is another quarantine masterpiece when I had entirely too much time on my hands. I think I originally got inspired to do this by a girl on TikTok. She did something similar but with magazines, and I love the glossiness and the color of them, but I just don't keep enough magazines around the house for that, but there are always some kind of newspaper. So we had to get creative. We had to work with what we had, okay? I originally wanted this to be a standing up photo, and I just did not have enough newspaper for that. So we changed gears. We ended up doing the sitting down thing, which I loved, except for getting into position. I cannot tell you how many sheets of newspaper I ripped with the shoes, with trying to sit down, with trying to like position myself in the shot. I'm actually sitting on a rip. I ran out of extra newspaper to fill in the slots where I was ripping and just had to go with it. This is another one where I had to use the Bluetooth remote, which is why my arms are crossed, so I could hide the remote. I'm telling you, for a while there until I had Lens Buddy, I had to get real creative. The setup for this wasn't too bad. I just taped everything to the wall / the floor, but where I set it up was right in the entryway to my house. And during quarantine, I don't know about you guys, but we were doing a lot of online shopping. Packages were arriving, and I was sat on newspaper when knock, 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 here's the Amazon driver. Somebody always catches me doing something stupid. So it's fine. We got the shot and I got whatever was coming in the package that day. So it's a win-win really. All right, we're gonna do 2 more photos today and I'll save my absolute favorite for last. So we'll start with this one. This one was taken in Newport, Rhode Island, which is one of my favorite places. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, it's historic. If you get a chance to go see it, go see it. Also, amazing food, especially if you like lobster, which I do. I was in Newport for my birthday trip last year, and I had in my head that I wanted a photo in front of one of the beautiful Gilded Age mansions along the cliff walk. I had such a clear vision. I knew which sunglasses I wanted to wear. I thrifted a blazer for it. I knew the aesthetic I was going for. I was going for that very old money, preppy New England aesthetic, which is very much my thing. But I was traveling with my mom and our friend Nicole, both who I love so very dearly, but both who are historically not the best at taking photos. And again, as I said in the beginning of this video, I am so nitpicky about my photos. Like, so bad. It's not anyone's fault, really. But I was not going to put them through the torture of taking photos for me. I, however, was going to make them wait for me to take these photos. A lot of it is paved, but there is a section of it where you have to walk across like rocks and stones and beach, and it's really pretty, and we wanted to do the whole walk. But I didn't want to wear sneakers in this photo because it was ruining the aesthetic. So I brought a backpack with me. It had my tripod in it. It had these shoes that I'm wearing in it. It had an extra set of sunglasses in case I didn't like the ones in the photos. I was prepared. I was willing to go to any length to get the photo, okay? That's what you need to know about me. I will go to whatever length it takes to get the shot. I had picked this mansion. This is the one I wanted for the backdrop. I separated myself from the group. I was like, I'm gonna go up on the lawn. I'm gonna take some photos. Like, if you want to continue down the cliff walk, that's fine. Like, I'll catch up to you. Or if you guys want to wander around the grounds, that's fine. But I went, took my backpack off, changed shoes on the lawn of this mansion, set everything up, started taking these photos, got all the shots I wanted, but this is a public area. Like, there's people milling around, there's people coming out of this building, so there's lots of witnesses to this. I was trying to time it so there wasn't any people in the background. I am not someone who's good at editing photos, so if there was someone walking behind me, I do not have the capabilities to edit them out. Like, I'm just not good at that. If someone would like to teach me, I welcome those lessons, but I can't do it by myself. So I had to time this properly with snapping photos when people would stop walking. And at any given moment, there's at least 5 to 10 people just watching me do this. But this isn't my first rodeo. This is 2 years into having my own tripod, going in public, taking my own photos. And at this point, it just does not even faze me anymore. I also had this feeling of, I'm never gonna see these people again in my life. And that's what I've started telling myself all the time, whether I think it's true or not, and it helps. So if you're someone who wants some advice on taking your own Instagram photos, that's my best advice. Stop caring what other people around you think and pretend you'll never see them again, even if you will. I will tell you another anecdote about this day and how crazy I am about my photos. This was the second set of photos I took that day. This time I used the tripod, but there is a first set of photos I'm sure I can find a photo from that came out fine. They weren't exactly what I was picturing, but we were earlier on the cliff walk. It was a little more crowded. I didn't want to have to pull out the tripod. So I opened the Lens Buddy app. I positioned my mom, my sweet, patient saint of a mother. I positioned her where I wanted. I started the Lens Buddy, and I essentially used my mom as a human tripod. I was like, don't move, don't touch any buttons. Just stand right here and hold the phone. And God love her, she did it. She just stood there and let the Lens Buddy app run and take photos for me. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the photos. I just liked the lighting and the backdrop better in this photo, but I will show you the photo she helped me take. So thank you, Mom, for always being so patient with me. And last, but certainly not least, my favorite photo that we're going to talk about today, and probably one of my favorite photos by the story behind it ever. This photo was taken by the incredible Tyler Peterson, who you guys should check out on all social media platforms if you haven't already. And it was taken on a rooftop in LA. That itself makes it the coolest story ever. Tyler, myself, and his roommate Amanda all climbed on this roof together because Tyler had a vision. Tyler wanted to make his move social media official and kind of announce it to the world. And honestly, what cooler place to do that than on the roof of your first apartment in LA? I am 100% sure we were not supposed to be up there. They didn't make it easy, but they also didn't make it impossible, so. There was a small ladder for access to the roof, but it started well above our heads. And I don't know how strong you guys think I am, but any strength I have is not in my upper body. I'm not going to be out here doing a pull-up onto a ladder. Absolutely not. That obstacle alone is probably enough to keep most people off the roof. Most people. Our solution was to take a small stool, set it below the ladder, and you would have to step onto the stool, grab one of the rungs of the ladder for stability, and then put your legs on the railing of a staircase that went down into the basement. I may actually have a video clip of Tyler doing the climb, and if so, I'll put it here so you can kind of better understand the logistics of this. But we end up all getting on the roof. But the only thought that I have while we're up there is, if someone moves the stool, I'm not graceful, I'm not coordinated, I'm going to jump down from the ladder and then have to fly home with a broken ankle. It didn't happen, it was all fine. We get on this roof, it's that beautiful West Coast golden hour. Just gorgeous. We focus on Tyler first, we take all of these photos of him. Because I like to brag about him, I'll throw a photo up here. And if that's not enough to entice you to go look him up on social media, I don't know what is. This is probably one of my favorite photos of me, but the journey we went on to get this photo 100% influences that. And I don't just mean the climbing on the roof. I mean the putting together the furniture and unpacking boxes in Tyler's new apartment. I mean the 4 days we spent on the road driving cross country to get him to where I truly believe he belongs. The years of friendship that led up to that journey. All of it compiles into this one really beautiful moment captured in a photo. And that's why they say a photo is worth 1,000 words. But the backstory behind it is priceless. Well, I think we've exposed enough of my Instagram photos for one day. But if there's any of my Instagram photos that you'd specifically like the backstory for, feel free to leave a comment below or on the actual photo, and maybe someday we'll make a part 3 to this series. As always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe below, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.